Muscle and insulin resistance rises, inflammation rises, fall risk rises, and independence declines. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, stomach acid drops, digestive enzymes decline, and protein signaling becomes weaker, a process called anabolic resistance. That means even if you're eating enough protein, your muscles may not be getting the message. Now add certain vegetables that bind minerals, interfere with amino acid signaling, or blunt thyroid and insulin pathways, and suddenly that perfect-looking breakfast becomes metabolically inefficient. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of eggs as a high-quality construction crew delivering bricks to rebuild muscle. But if the roads are blocked, the bricks never reach the job site. Some food combinations create those roadblocks, especially in older adults with sensitive digestion and slower metabolic signaling. This doesn't mean you should fear vegetables, and it definitely doesn't mean eggs are the problem. It means timing, pairing, and preparation matter more than most people realize, especially after 60. In this video, I'm going to show you why eggs are critical for aging muscles when eaten correctly. The 3 vegetable pairings that can weaken muscle signaling in seniors. The physiology behind protein absorption, why muscle loss after 60 is a signaling problem, insulin, and thyroid function. How to restructure your meals to amplify muscle building signals. Simple swaps that protect strength, energy, and longevity. And importantly, this is not about restriction, it's about precision. Small changes in food combinations can dramatically change how your body responds, especially as you age. If this kind of science-based practical guidance is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you protect your metabolism, strength, and longevity naturally. Next, I'll give you a clear overview of the 6 key insights we'll cover so you know exactly where we're going and how to apply this safely and effectively. Before we talk about vegetables, we need to understand the real problem seniors face, because it's not that you're not eating enough protein, it's that your muscles are no longer hearing the signal. Here's what's really going on inside your body. After age 60, the body develops something called anabolic resistance. This means muscle cells become less responsive to amino acids, especially leucine, the key trigger that tells muscle to repair and grow. Eggs are one of the richest natural sources of leucine, which is why they're often recommended for seniors. But leucine doesn't work in isolation. For muscle protein synthesis to occur, you need adequate stomach acid to break protein down, minerals like zinc and magnesium to activate enzymes, insulin signaling to shuttle amino acids into muscle, thyroid signaling to maintain metabolic rate. When any one of those is disrupted, protein becomes far less effective, even if the food itself is perfect. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of eggs as a master key. In younger adults, that key opens the muscle door easily, but in older adults, the lock has rust. You now need more precision, the right environment for the key to work. This is where food combinations become critical. Certain vegetables contain compounds that are completely harmless, even beneficial in younger, metabolically flexible bodies. But in seniors, especially those with lower stomach acid, slower digestion, or borderline thyroid function, those same compounds can interfere with mineral absorption and protein signaling. And when that happens, eggs don't deliver their full muscle protective benefit. One major factor is mineral binding. Muscle-building enzymes require minerals like zinc, iron, and magnesium. Some vegetables contain compounds that bind these minerals in the gut, making them unavailable. If those minerals aren't absorbed, the protein signal weakens, not because eggs are ineffective, but because the metabolic machinery is eggs, leucine, and aging muscles. Explained missing parts. Another overlooked factor is digestive load. Eggs digest quickly and efficiently, but when they're combined with large volumes of certain fibrous or anti-nutrient-rich vegetables, digestion slows, stomach acid becomes diluted, and protein breakdown becomes incomplete. In seniors, incomplete digestion means incomplete signaling. This is why some people eat eggs daily, yet still experience muscle loss, weakness, or fatigue. The signal never fully reaches the muscle. And here's an important point many people miss. Muscle loss doesn't happen suddenly. It happens quietly, one inefficient meal at a time. Small reductions in protein signaling repeated daily lead to measurable muscle loss over years. This is why the context of protein matters more after 60 than the protein itself. Now, I want to be very clear. Vegetables are not the enemy. The issue is pairing, preparation, and timing. Later, I'll show you how to eat these same vegetables safely and even beneficially without interfering with muscle health. But first, you need to understand this foundational truth. Eggs only protect your muscles if your body can use them. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day, practical science-based strategies to help you preserve strength, energy, and independence as you age. Next, we'll look at how specific compounds found in common vegetables can interfere with mineral absorption and hormone signaling, and why this effect becomes more pronounced after age 60. Now let's zoom in on the mechanism, because this is where the confusion usually starts. Certain vegetables contain compounds that nutrition science calls anti-nutrients. That sounds alarming, but it simply means substances that can interfere with absorption under specific conditions. In younger, metabolically robust people, this usually isn't a problem. But after 60, physiology changes and context becomes everything. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, stomach acid production declines. This is extremely common and often unnoticed. Lower stomach acid means proteins are not broken down as efficiently and minerals are absorbed less reliably. This already puts seniors at a disadvantage for muscle maintenance. Now add vegetables that contain oxalates, phytates, or goitrogenic compounds, and the problem can compound. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of minerals like zinc, magnesium, and iron as spark plugs in an engine. Eggs provide the fuel, high-quality protein, and amino acids. But if the spark plugs are removed, the engine can't fire properly. Anti-nutrients don't destroy minerals. They bind them, preventing absorption at the exact moment your body needs them. Oxalates, for example, are found in high amounts in certain leafy greens and vegetables. They bind calcium and magnesium. Phytates, common in some plant foods, bind zinc and iron. These minerals are critical for muscle contraction, enzyme activation, and protein synthesis. What the research anti-nutrients, digestion, and mineral blocking shows is that in older adults, low zinc and magnesium levels are strongly associated with muscle weakness, impaired protein utilization, and increased frailty, even when protein intake appears adequate. Another layer here is digestive competition. Egg protein is fast and efficient to digest. Certain vegetables, especially raw, fibrous, or high-volume ones, take much longer. When eaten together in large amounts, digestion slows. Stomach acid is diluted and protein breakdown becomes less complete. In seniors, this can reduce the leucine signal that triggers muscle repair. This doesn't show up on food labels, but it shows up in muscle mass over time. Now let's talk briefly about thyroid signaling, because this is often overlooked. The thyroid sets your metabolic rate. It influences how effectively protein is used to build tissue versus being burned or wasted. Some vegetables, particularly when eaten raw and in large quantities, can interfere with iodine utilization in people who already have borderline thyroid function. And thyroid issues become more common with age. When thyroid signaling is suboptimal, muscle protein synthesis slows, even if protein intake is high. So you have a perfect storm: lower stomach acid, reduced mineral absorption, slower thyroid signaling, anabolic resistance in muscle. Put that together and suddenly food combinations that once worked fine no longer do. Now here's the most important clarification. These vegetables are not bad. They're context sensitive. The problem isn't eating them. The problem is eating them together with eggs in ways that blunt protein signaling, especially at the meal where you're trying to protect muscle. Later, I'll show you how to cook, time, or separate these foods so you get the benefits without the downside. But for now, remember this key point. After 60, the question is no longer, is this food healthy? The question is, does this combination support muscle signaling? Right now, in the next section, I'll identify the 3 specific vegetables that most commonly interfere with eggs in seniors and explain exactly why these pairings are problematic so you can make informed, precise choices rather than guessing. Now let's talk about the part everyone's been waiting for. The 3 vegetable pairings that most commonly weaken muscle response when eaten together with eggs in adults over 60. And I want to say this clearly up front. These vegetables are not unhealthy. They are not toxic, and they absolutely can be part of a longevity-focused diet. The issue is context, pairing, preparation, and timing, especially when eggs are being used intentionally as a muscle-preserving food. Here's what's really going on inside your body. The first vegetable category is raw spinach and other high oxalate leafy greens. Spinach is often seen as the ultimate healthy breakfast add-on. Omelets, scrambles, smoothies. But spinach is extremely high in oxalates, which bind minerals like calcium and magnesium in the gut. Remember, magnesium and calcium are not just bone minerals. They are essential for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and enzyme activity involved in protein synthesis. When eggs, a fast, efficient protein head, are eaten with large amounts of raw spinach, especially in seniors with lower stomach acid, those minerals can become unavailable at the vegetable number 1 that weakens eggs. After 60 exact moment, muscle cells need them. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. It's like delivering a construction crew to a job site, but removing their tools at the gate. The workers show up, but the job doesn't get done efficiently. The second vegetable category is raw cruciferous vegetables, especially kale, raw broccoli, and raw Brussels sprouts. Cruciferous vegetables are powerful longevity foods when prepared properly, but when eaten raw and in large quantities, they contain compounds that can interfere with iodine utilization in people with borderline thyroid function. After 60, thyroid deficiency often declines subtly, sometimes without showing up clearly on standard labs. Thyroid hormone plays a critical role in muscle protein turnover and metabolic rate. If thyroid signaling is even slightly suppressed, the muscle building signal from eggs becomes weaker. Not absent, just less effective. Cooking makes a major difference here. Lightly steaming or sautéing cruciferous vegetables dramatically reduces this effect and improves digestibility, which is why preparation matters more than avoidance. The third vegetable category is large portions of raw onions and garlic eaten directly with eggs. Now, this one surprises people. Onions and garlic are incredible gut-supporting foods, but raw, in large amounts, they are high in fermentable fibers. These can slow gastric emptying and create digestive competition when eaten with fast-digesting proteins like eggs. In seniors, this can delay protein breakdown and blunt the leucine signal that triggers muscle repair. Again, this doesn't mean onions and garlic are harmful. It means they may be better eaten later in the day or cooked or separated from your primary protein-focused meal. Here's the pattern you should notice. All 3 issues involve mineral binding, digestive competition, hormonal signaling interference, not calories, not cholesterol, not protein. Quality. And this is why someone can eat eggs every morning and still lose muscle over time. The signal is being dampened, not eliminated. If this is making sense so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day, helping you use food combinations strategically to protect strength, energy, and independence as you age. In the next section, I'll show you how to vegetable number 2 and thyroid muscle connection restructure egg meals so they amplify muscle signaling instead of blocking it, including better vegetable pairings, cooking methods, and timing strategies that work with aging physiology, not against it. Now, let's talk about the solution, because the goal here is not to remove nutritious foods, but to restructure meals so eggs can actually do their job. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Eggs are most powerful for seniors when they act as a clear protein signal. That signal needs to be strong, fast, and metabolically clean. Anything that dilutes digestion, binds minerals, or blunts hormone signaling weakens that message. So the fix is not eating fewer vegetables. The fix is pairing eggs with the right vegetables prepared the right way at the right time. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of muscle building like turning on a light switch. In younger adults, even a weak flip turns the light on. In older adults, the switch is stiff. You need a clean, firm signal. Too many competing inputs and the light flickers instead of turning on fully. So how do we clean up the signal? First, prioritize low interference vegetables with egg meals. These are vegetables that are low in oxalates, gentle on digestion, and supportive of insulin signaling. Examples include zucchini, mushrooms, bell peppers, tomatoes, asparagus, cooked carrots, cooked squash. These vegetables provide antioxidants and fiber without binding key minerals or slowing protein digestion. They support rather than compete with the muscle-building signal from eggs. Second, cook your vegetables when eating them with eggs. Cooking is not the enemy. In fact, for seniors, cooking is often beneficial. Light sautéing, steaming, or roasting breaks down fiber, reduces anti-nutrient activity, and improves mineral bioavailability. This is especially important for cruciferous vegetables. Cooked broccoli or kale behaves very differently in the body than raw versions. Cooking lowers Grogan activity and reduces digestive load. Vegetable number 3 and digestive competition, allowing protein to be absorbed more efficiently. Third, control volume. Large bowls of vegetables paired with eggs may look healthy, but they can dilute stomach acid and slow digestion in older adults. A better approach is moderate vegetable portions with egg meals, larger vegetable servings later in the day away from protein-focused meals. This preserves muscle signaling while still supporting gut health. Overall, fourth, support digestion directly. After 60, many people benefit from simple digestive support. Chew food thoroughly, eat slowly, avoid ice-cold drinks with meals. Consider apple cider vinegar or bitters before protein-rich meals if tolerated. These small habits improve stomach acid signaling and protein breakdown, amplifying the effect of eggs. Fifth, anchor egg meals earlier in the day. Morning or late morning is when insulin sensitivity is highest and cortisol naturally supports protein utilization. This makes eggs especially effective at breakfast or brunch for preserving muscle and stabilizing blood sugar. Later in the day, when digestion slows, heavier fiber loads are better tolerated away from your primary protein signal. The big takeaway here is this: eggs should act like a clear message to your muscles, not a mixed signal. When you simplify the meal, cook vegetables appropriately, and reduce digestive competition, the same eggs suddenly become far more effective. In the next section, I'll give you a simple senior-friendly egg protocol: how often to eat eggs, how many ideal timing, and how to structure an entire day of eating so muscle, metabolism, and longevity all work together instead of competing. Now let's put everything together into a clear, senior-friendly egg protocol, because information only matters if you can use it easily, consistently, and without fear. Here's what's really going on inside your body. After 60, your body thrives on predictable signals. Random eating patterns, inconsistent protein intake, and overly complex meals create metabolic noise. But when meals are structured simply, the body responds quickly, especially muscle tissue. Eggs, when used correctly, become one of the most efficient tools for preserving strength, stabilizing blood sugar, and supporting brain health. So here's how to eat eggs correctly after 60 to use them. First, let's talk about frequency and quantity. For most seniors, eating eggs 4 to 6 days per week is both safe and beneficial. On those days, aim for 2 to 3 whole eggs per meal. The yolk matters. That's where the choline, fat, soluble vitamins, and many muscle-up supportive nutrients live. This amount reliably provides enough leucine to cross the muscle-building threshold in older adults, especially when digestion is supported. Second, timing matters. The best time for eggs is breakfast or late morning. This is when insulin sensitivity is highest and cortisol naturally helps shuttle amino acids into muscle tissue. Think of it this way: earlier in the day, your body is primed to use protein. Later in the day, it's more likely to store or waste it. So if muscle preservation is your goal, eat eggs earlier. Third, simplify the plate. An ideal egg meal for seniors looks like this: Eggs as the clear protein anchor, 1 to 2 cooked, low interference. Vegetables, healthy fat like olive oil or butter, minimal starch or sugar. This creates a clean, strong muscle signal without digestive competition. Examples include scrambled eggs with mushrooms and zucchini, omelet with tomatoes and cooked peppers, eggs with asparagus and olive oil save high fiber, fermentable vegetables for later meals. Fourth, support digestion and mineral status. After 60, digestion is often the limiting factor, not food quality. Simple supports make a big difference. Eat slowly and chew well. Avoid drinking large amounts of liquid with meals. Ensure adequate magnesium and zinc from food or supplements if approved by your doctor. These nutrients are essential for muscle contraction and protein synthesis. Fifth, pair eggs with movement. Muscle becomes dramatically more responsive to protein after even light activity. You don't need intense workouts. A short walk, a few body weight movements, or resistance band. Exercises before or after eating eggs can amplify muscle protein synthesis. This is one of the most powerful and underused strategies for seniors. And finally, zoom out. Eggs are not a magic food. They are a signal amplifier. When digestion is supported, vegetables are prepared wisely, and meals are timed well. Eggs help preserve muscle, stabilize blood sugar, and protect independence. If this protocol is helpful, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day, breaking down complex physiology into simple, practical steps to help you age with strength, clarity, and confidence. In Simple Daily Changes to Protect Muscle, the next and final section, we'll recap the key insights, reinforce why these changes matter so much after 60, and I'll give you a simple challenge you can try starting tomorrow. Let's step back and simplify everything we covered, because this is not about fear, restriction, or avoiding healthy foods. It's about precision. After 60, your body still knows how to build muscle, regulate blood sugar, and protect itself, but it needs clearer signals. Small inefficiencies repeated daily add up over time, and small improvements applied consistently do the same. Here are the key takeaways. Eggs are one of the most powerful muscle-preserving foods for seniors, but only when your body can actually use them. Muscle loss after 60 isn't driven by lack of protein alone. It's driven by weaker signaling, slower digestion, and reduced mineral and hormone support. We saw how certain vegetables, especially raw spinach, raw cruciferous vegetables, and large amounts of raw onions or garlic can interfere with that signal when eaten directly with eggs, not because they're unhealthy, but because they bind minerals, slow digestion, or subtly affect thyroid and insulin signaling in aging bodies. We also learned that preparation changes everything. Cooking vegetables reduces anti-nutrient activity, improves digestion, and restores mineral availability. Timing vegetables away from your primary protein meal can preserve muscle signaling while still supporting gut health. We outlined a simple, senior-friendly egg protocol. Eat eggs earlier in the day. Use them as a clear protein anchor. Pair them with cooked, low-interference vegetables. Support digestion and mineral status. Final takeaway for stronger aging. Add light movement to amplify muscle response. None of this requires perfection. It requires attention. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow, try one change. Eat eggs with a simpler plate. Cook your vegetables. Reduce volume. Notice how you feel. Pay attention to your energy, your digestion, your strength, and your clarity. Your body gives feedback when biology improves. And remember, aging doesn't mean decline is inevitable. Muscle is not just about strength. It's about metabolic health, balance, independence, and longevity. If this video added value for you, like it and subscribe to the channel. You'll be joining a community focused on optimizing health naturally using science, not fear. Small changes, clear signals, stronger aging. That's how you protect your muscles and your future after